Former Kabushi Member of Parliament, Bowman Lusambo, says he's ready to work with the new Dawn government. Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Board dissolved, and government called upon to expedite distribution of urea for Qtv farmers. Former Kabushi Member of Parliament, Bowman Lusambo, says he is ready to work with the UPND government to help address challenges the country is currently facing, such as corruption, load shedding, and high cost of living. Addressing the media at his residence in Lusaka, Mr. Lusambo says the challenges the country is currently facing require concerted efforts from various stakeholders, regardless of people's political affiliation. Mr. Lusambo has since advised President Hakainde Hichilema that solutions to most of these challenges can be found with having close relationships with Russia and China due to their big economies. The former lawmaker says that there is need for politicians to stop the blame game and focus on finding solutions to the various challenges citizens are facing, and is hopeful that the new Dawn government will this year focus on putting in place and implementing strategies that will benefit Zambians.
Driving seat, and let them deliver to the expectation of the people of Zambia. The promises which they made to the people during their time in opposition and during campaigns prior to 2021 general elections. We expect the UPND to operate above board. Let them stop this game brain thing. The people of Zambia gave them the mandate to preside over the affairs of this nation. Presiding over the affairs of this nation, the people of Zambia, they don't expect the UPND to continue referring to the PF. PF is not in power. Yes, very soon they will bounce back in power, but now they are not in power. We want to offer solutions or suggestions to the government of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the issue to do with road shedding. Our suggestion number one, let the government, through the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Information, to start sensitizing the people of Zambia to switch off the cookers, stove, electrical cookers, and switch on gas cooking in our country. By doing so, we'll be releasing pressure on ZESCO. And we want to urge this government to recapitalize in Ndeni. Let them recapitalize in Ndeni, because in Ndeni will help the gas cooking in our country. It's a pity that the Member of Parliament for Ndeni, instead of supporting the recapitalizing of Ndeni, or supporting the selling of Ndeni, and the members of the constituency for Bonamkubwa, they are stranded now, because most of them, they used to get their permanent works, jobs and peace works from Ndeni and other surrounding areas. So let us switch off our electric stove to gas cooking. We also want to urge this government of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to sensitize the people of Zambia to switch off the electric geysers to solar geysers.
Minister of Commerce and Trade and Industry Chipoka Mlenga has dissolved the board of the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, CCPC, pending the appointment of a new one. Minister Mlenga has since thanked the board members for their commitment and dedication to their cause in protecting how business is conducted in the country, and that their commitment to Zambia will forever be appreciated. He says a few of the members have since left the government agencies they represented, and new individuals need to be brought to the team to fulfill the guidelines of such a board. He has since wished the past members well in their future endeavors, as they may be called upon for other national matters. UPND Secretary General Qtv Main has urged the government to resuscitate the delimitation process to allow citizens in large constituencies have better representation. Mr. Imenda says the delimitation of large constituencies must be given attention because it is an urgent matter. Speaking when he campaigned for UPND candidates in Kasama district ahead of local government by-elections in the area, Mr. Imenda said the outcry by some voters who feel they are not adequately represented due to the vastness of some constituencies is justified. Mr. Imenda has observed that instead of letting the already done mapping of the delimitation of constituencies gather dust, the time is now for the process to be implemented.
We have just come from Lukasha in Kapanda ward, where we are having a by-election. One of the complaints is that Lukasha is vast. It's such a big constituency in that people feel they are not well represented because of the size of the constituency. So one of the outcries of the voters is such that Lukasha must be cut into two. So the question of delimitation comes to the fore.
The Chisamba Town Council has noted with concern that indiscriminate waste disposal by marketeers at Chisamba Central Business District, which has continued with impunity, thereby creating illegal dump sites in the district. The Chisamba Council has reiterated that dumping of any waste material in undesignated places is an offence and any person found wanting risk being arrested and prosecuted. Council Public Relations Officer Nakubiana Shabongo warned all those involved in illegal dumping of waste to desist from such actions to avoid being prosecuted under appropriate laws pertaining to illegal dumping. Ms. Shabongo adds that the council established 2 refuse bays in the CBD and wonders why people trading in that area have continued to engage in unlawful disposal of waste. She says that the unlawful disposal of unwanted waste has become a severe challenge to public health and environmental safety in the community and must come to an end, adding that the aim of the local authority is to engage communities in the war against illegal disposal of waste as it has detrimental effects. She, however, states that Chisamba District Council has embarked on a vigorous sensitization program highlighting pieces of legislation associated with public health and safety and the dangers of poor waste management to the general public. Kanchibia Member of Parliament Sunday Chanda has expressed concern over farmers who have spent over 2 weeks waiting to receive urea fertilizer instead of spending time attending to the crop in their respective areas. They are now forced to spend nights under very difficult conditions as they wait for fertilizer. Mr. Chanda says the farmers have run out of money for upkeep due to prolonged waiting, which he says is totally unacceptable and needs to come to an end. He says it is sad that delivery of fertilizer in Kanchibia district is currently under 40% as at 13th of January 2023, and yet it is a district focused on exploiting the comparative advantage in agriculture, adding that this is a pending disaster to the agricultural sector and will result in hunger at household level. He has called on government to treat immediate delivery of urea fertilizer to farmers in Kanchibia as a matter of urgency, as it is a race against time. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Muntubile, says that the United Party for National Development, UPND, has continued to act unconstitutionally. Police on January 10th, 2023 disrupted a Patriotic Front structure audit meeting in Chipata, Eastern Province, claiming that the party did not have a permit to gather. Reacting to the incidents, Mr. Muntubile, who is also a PF party presidential candidate, said that the disruption of the PF Eastern Provincial Membership Audit meeting ahead of the General Conference in March 2023 was uncalled for. He reminded the UPND that the Constitution guaranteed fundamental rights to persons to associate freely. Mr. Muntubile, a renowned lawyer, said the famous Mulundika case was clear when it came to public order. Mr. Muntubile said he was surprised that the meeting was disrupted even after notifying the police in advance.
The UPND have continued on their path, to act unconstitutionally. The Constitution guarantees fundamental rights to persons to associate freely, and you are aware of the famous Mlundika case when it comes to public order. Ordinarily, when you want to assemble as a political party, all you need to do is notify the police and not necessarily get the permit or permission to assemble. And in this particular
bush clearing, sport gravelling, and road formation works. Chifungo Ward Councillor Daniel Chilumba, who has confirmed the release of funds, says the CDF funds will go a long way in the rehabilitation of roadworks on the mentioned road. He has pleaded with the government to release more resources towards the completion of the project so that people can have ease movements. The civic leader has also disclosed that about 4 cooperatives of vulnerable women and youths have been given 40,000 kwacha each in grants to buy hammer mills for income-generating activities. He said among the beneficiaries are Kanelengo Cooperative with about 40 recipients, Munyamazi also with 40, as well as Bemba Nawalia Cooperative. Not forgetting Kapangurwase with 35 beneficiaries. He has further disclosed that some hammer mills are up and running while others are still being installed by the beneficiaries. The civic leader notes that the villagers in Chief Nawalia's chiefdom are indebted to the New Dawn government for releasing the CDF, adding that the projects will help reduce poverty at household level and create local jobs, among others. U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen will travel to Senegal, Zambia, and South Africa from January 17 through January 28. On January 22, Secretary Yellen will travel to Lusaka, Zambia. On January 23 in Zambia, Secretary Yellen will visit a community health site where she will participate in a tour to highlight joint efforts to advance global health. Later, Secretary Yellen will visit Mylan Labs Lusaka Distribution Center. Mylan Labs is a U.S. firm that employs 75 workers at this facility, helping to distribute anti-malarial and antiretroviral treatments. Secretary Yellen will tour the facility and highlight U.S.-Africa joint efforts to promote a healthy population, improve global health security, and collaborate to prevent and prepare for future pandemics. Secretary Yellen will then participate in a lunch with business leaders from the American Chamber of Commerce in Zambia, including a spray at the top of lunch. After lunch, Secretary Yellen will participate in bilateral meeting with the President of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, Minister of Finance, Tumbeko Msokotwane, and the Governor of the Bank of Zambia, Denny Kariaria. Bilateral meetings with the President and Finance Minister will have photo sprays and brief remarks at the top for pre-approved media. On January 24, Secretary Yellen will tour 2 agriculture-related sites in Zambia. During her visit, the Secretary will deliver remarks highlighting the work the Treasury Department and the U.S. government are engaged in to promote climate-resilient agriculture and food production, as well as to mitigate the global spillover effects of Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. The Cross-Border Trade Association of Zambia is hoping for a stable way of conducting business this year. Association President Godson Mbewe says business was negatively affected in 2022 due to a number of contributing factors such as the fluctuation in fuel prices. Mr. Mbewe explains that fuel prices drive the country's economy and that the inconsistent prices of petroleum products have negatively affected trade across the country. Mr. Mbewe, who indicated that cross-border business was not pleasant last year, is hopeful that the situation will be corrected in order to promote fair trade among citizens. He adds that unstable price of fuel do not only affect the transportation sector, but that the prices of basic government and rural development minister Karen Kombo has given up to Monday for the vendors to leave the streets countrywide due to COVID and cholera. Mr. Malenga says it is an undeniable fact that COVID and cholera are a serious concern to the citizenry, but vendors should have been given ample time to prepare to go back to designated marketplaces. He adds that these people need proper reallocation of stores.
Yes, we are aware as a country that COVID and cholera are a serious concern to our citizenry. But as for vendors, they should have been given ample time. At least a notice should have been provided by the minister to ensure that these vendors also prepare as they go back to designated marketplaces where they are supposed to be trading from. These are places that need the proper reallocation of stores. And also vendors, the homes in which they live are too small. They live in 1-bedroomed house, 2-bedroomed house, where their tables cannot fit, where their goods that they sell on stands cannot fit. So given time, at least 21 days within which to move away from the street would have been appropriate. We know quite all right that this is a disease, and this is one thing that the minister was aware of, because it takes the minister of local government, the minister of health, and the Zambia police to sit down to ensure that a solution is found. We don't want to have a situation where we see our people start running about with the police, start running around with the government just to move to designated places. No.
So member of the Central Committee, Andrew Mwima, says that most of the youths who have now turned into junkies engage in illicit activities because they do not have anything to do. He states that a lasting solution needs to be found in which the junkies will completely turn away from bad vices and become responsible citizens by being attracted to a business environment where they are getting something. He says they have nothing to do, hence they have become junkies, and crime rate has increased in communities, stating that most of these are not educated and are suffering because they do not have much to do. He notes that arresting them is not the solution, but a permanent solution needs to be worked on. Even if they are sent to prison, they will still continue with the same life once released. The National Union of Professional Cleaners and Allied Workers President Bernard Mumba has noted that the adjustment of the minimum wages by government is a step in the right direction. Mr. Mumba tells Q News that for a long time now, domestic workers have been exploited by being paid by being underpaid. That is not by being paid money that is not enough to the amount of work that they put in. He says the union is working tirelessly to ensure that the employers follow it. This month was stated by government, adding that exploitation of domestic workers will not be tolerated. He has since thanked government for thinking of the welfare of the domestic workers, adding that the increase will go a long way in cushioning their needs with a high cost of living.
To me, it's a plus. Now the battle remains with us. We have to go out and sensitize our general membership. These are human rights. So even the approach should be minimal as we approach them, because we are trying to give them the education to sensitize. They should understand. Look, the cleaning industry in this country leaves much to be desired. Previously, we are coming from the background where we only knew to say the cleaners, those that are found in the hospitals. Cleaning is everywhere. That's why in the diaspora, when you look, I mean, we've got relatives that are in the diaspora that are working as cleaners. And when they are there, who has come back and said, no, me, I'm a cleaner that side? They don't discuss what they do. And such jobs are highly paid. So we are in tandem. We've got a mandate of 4 years, so we'll prove ourselves, because we want to change the cleaning industry in this country. And very soon we will start now employing even graduates. That's why if you look at the National Union of Professional Cleaners, it's a skill. You don't just wake up one day and say, no, I'm a cleaner. No, it's a skill. You need to be educated. So that is one of our agenda. We've lined up a lot of programs.
Former Kabushi Member of Parliament, Boma Lusambo, says he is ready to work with the new Dawn government. Competition and Consumer Protection Commission board dissolved, and government called upon to expedite distribution of urea for Qtv farmers. In international news, we monitor DW News.
Iran says it has hanged a British-Iranian national, Ali Reza Akbari, a former top Iranian defense official convicted of spying for the United Kingdom. Akbari was also accused of involvement in the killing of Iran's top nuclear scientist in 2020. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak condemned Akbari's execution, calling it callous and cowardly. Iran has one of the world's highest execution rates. And I'm joined now in the studio by Cameron Matin. He's a senior lecturer on international politics at the University of Sussex in England and an expert on Iran. Thank you for being here, Mr. Matin. Can you tell me, tell our viewers about the charges that Akbari faced and why he faced the death penalty?
Well, the media outlets close to the IRGC and the judiciary of Iran have claimed that he was the top spy for the British intelligence, that he has passed on extremely sensitive military and security intelligence to British intelligence services, which has compromised Iran's external and internal security. He was tried in a revolutionary court by a particular judge, Judge Salavati, who is notorious for having very close relations with the IRGC and the government itself. So many people in Iran believe that these courts are illegal because this was a temporary measure at the start of the revolution, and they should not be even in operation.
And the IRGC is the Revolutionary Guards?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Akbari, before his execution, suggested that it would be, should it take place, which it did, sadly, a sort of diplomatic revenge because of Britain's stance on the recent protests, new sanctions, and so on. Does that make sense to you?
There is definitely a foreign dimension to the execution, especially that the proscribing the IRGC is under active consideration in Britain. But I think there is a much more important internal dimension to this execution. Mr. Akbari was deputy of former defense minister, who is a close ally of reformist President Khatami, who was president during the late 90s. And also he was an advisor to the secretary of Supreme National National Security Council. So it seems that factions within IRGC trying to eliminate people they deem close to the reformist faction, these are the ones who advocate some sort of flexibility in nuclear negotiations in order to kind of lift the sanctions. But this is not in the interest of IRGC because they are actually benefiting from the sanctions. So